welcome to Support Life, a program focusing on current social issues from a life-affirming perspective. I'm Gavin Baulch, and my guest today is Peter Phillips. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you, Gavin.
Pleasure
to be here.
Thanks for travelling so far. You began your life over in Perth.
A long time ago, yes.
And
I won't travel that far today.
No, but that's where things began for
Yes.
you. And so you went to primary school over there?
Yes, Sisters of Mercy. I started. Yes.
And then
Then I went to seminary in New South Wales, the Redemptorist Seminary.
Okay,
Yes,
so that
for
was
6 years.
about age 13? You
13
made that move?
to 20, yes.
Okay, so that's where some of your spiritual formation took place?
Very substantial amount of it, yes.
Yes. So what were some of those key planks that came out of your time there?
I think the blessing of having a strong faith and the knowledge that God loves me and has given me so much to give.
Good. Now, did you complete all the years? Are you ordained?
Only the minor seminary.
Yes.
And then I did almost a year of novitiate. And then God had other plans from there on.
As he sometimes does.
I,
So then you went back to Perth for a while.
yeah, 6 years. I was back there.
Okay, and then intending to go to Queensland.
Yeah, I jumped in my little four-cylinder Corolla and drove across to this part of the world, got to Melbourne, ran out of money, and I've been here since.
Okay, well, we did touch on the fact that Melbourne's the most livable city in the world at the moment, but it's probably
So I've
one of the
heard.
expensive ones. All right, great. Well, here we are in sunny Melbourne. Now, how do some of those values that you learnt in your years at seminary affect what you do today?
Well, they're the foundation, and being able to apply the values that I have to facing and dealing with issues that I've come to discover over the years and that I find are very, very important, that affect my life and the lives of everyone around me.
So does that come back to this word that we use so often, I have rights?
Right, yes. It's a very popular word these days, which I think has been manipulated. The definition of rights has been tossed around, and I think it's been abused.
Okay, so is there a safe definition to start with in this discussion?
Well, talking about rights, the elementary one I always maintain, of course, it's the right to be alive, to live. So it applies to every single person on this planet. So I'm grateful to God for the gift of life from the moment of conception. And I hope that I'll continue to be able to spread that message among those I meet. Yes.
Okay, so there is an international declaration. I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind putting your glasses on and reading that to us.
Well, the International Universal Declaration
Yes.
of Human Rights, Article 18, it says, everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom either alone or in community with others and in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship and observance.
So that's Article 18 is very important then.
Yes, very important, and I think particularly in light of a particular issue that I want to discuss today specifically.
All right. Well, let's just move there, perhaps a little earlier than I thought. So what is that issue that's so important?
At the moment, there is a program which already exists in some Victorian schools. It's called the Safe Schools Coalition. And I think the aim of that is very, very misleading, very subtle. It claims that it is to work to overcome bullying in schools, but it focuses only on bullying of same-sex attracted students, or with a gender diversity and all those sorts of things. What it really is doing is undermining parental rights to decide for their children what they honestly believe is good and best for them. And so by imposing this program onto students and making it obligatory for schools, it's taking away parents' rights that they're entitled to, as specified in the Universal Declaration, Article 18.
Yes. So the focus then is about one particular group of bullied persons, which really is not an inclusive thing, but it does exclude so many other
exactly
outcomes and forms of bullying.
It doesn't cover all the other types of bullying. I think the National Safe Schools Framework would want to aim at every type of bullying. But through this program, they're excluding all the others, despite what might be their honest intentions.
Yeah.
We are at a point where the Labor Party leader, Daniel Andrews, has said this program will be made compulsory in all state secondary schools. I find that rather frightening.
Peter, that's an important revelation to us all. So we'll come back to that. You're watching Support Life, and we'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Support Life. I'm Gavin Baulch, and my guest is Peter Phillips. Peter, we just touched on a program that might be introduced into all of our school system here in Victoria. Mr. Andrews, he wrote an article, and there seemed to be a confession towards the end of the article. What did you note in the Herald Sun?
First of all, I think it was a general article in the Herald Sun. He didn't actually write it. He was involved in the article, which was headed Leaders United on Abortion, and it was simply saying that there was going to be no change to the Victorian abortion law. But what caught my eye was the final paragraph in that article on the 24th of September in the Herald Sun, where he said, "I am an imperfect Roman Catholic." And after that I wondered, what he needs to know is that every Roman Catholic is imperfect. But what caught me, I felt like telling him that any Catholic politician that votes for a law that legally kills his fellow unborn Australians has a very serious risk of an eternity of suffering.
Yes, well, that's an interesting point to note, because we're all imperfect, which is one of the conditions that we come to realise as we get older. Politicians or Catholics, or just the human race in general. But we do have rights, freedom and to live and to grow and experience education and life.
Yes.
So these rights, these unchangeable rights that we've written a declaration internationally about, are for everyone, including the unborn.
Yes. Well, that's a part of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which says that everyone has the right to life, and that children have a right to protection before and after birth. Yes. So any laws that take away that right are conflicting with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the rights of the child.
So how does that come about? Why is our legislation undermining what is and are universal rights for the human being?
Well, the way society has developed over many decades now, ever since maybe even before the sexual revolution of the 50s and 60s, where the individual has been given more emphasis, and what I think or what I believe, and no one can tell me what to believe. And the breakdown of what I do believe is compassion, a sense of compassion towards our fellow human beings and their rights. It's all, I think it's become very self-centred,
yes,
our society.
Yes.
And also for the sake of convenience, the utilitarian approach, I think, is very rife. It's almost ingrained in our society now. So, and because politicians are there mainly because they want to hang on to their seat. So if a majority of people say, oh, it's okay to dispose of this person or that person, well, they'll respond to that. It's not what is true or what is fair or just. It's it'll help them keep their seat. That's it. So that's why the rights of the child have been very much undermined, especially since the passing of the abortion law on the 10th of October 2008. We just had the 6th anniversary recently, and it was a major attack on our society, and especially our unborn fellow Australians.
So now that that's enshrined in law, legislation, law trumps this international and universal right of the child.
Well, a lot of people say if something is legal, it's good, it's okay. But that isn't true.
No, it's not necessarily so, is it?
No.
Did we
because this is an evil law. It destroys a human being.
Yes.
And often in very cruel ways. We have late-term abortions, and now doctors don't have a right of conscience. They can't use their professional judgment to not refer a woman for an abortion.
So they make a declaration themselves, don't they? They take an oath about the right to life.
Exactly.
And now it's undermined by law.
When people use rights, it's again, as I said, it's been manipulated. It's been twisted. It's out of proportion. It's lost its proper meaning.
Mm-hmm. So, would you like to just talk about rights again? Like, what's the proper meaning here? What have we misunderstood when we use the word rights?
Well, I think because of this, there's been a breakdown of values. You talk about values now, you're not allowed to in many situations. So the values are what I think, what I believe. So it's not a question of objective rights, who has these rights, who has those rights. It's what I feel, what I think. So as I said, I think we've become a very self-centred society.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But particularly now, as I was saying, with the Safe Schools program, we really need to do something to preserve parental rights for their children, to have the education that they want for them. And that this program that's already in schools, yes, but is now will be compulsory in all secondary schools, that will just bring us down even further.
Yes.
Because rights, the meaning of rights will be destroyed even further.
Yeah. Peter, again, that's an important point to finish on this segment. You're watching Support Life, and we'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Support Life. I'm Gavin Baulch and my guest is Peter Phillips. Peter, we just touched on what may be brought into the schools. And what's the name of the program again, so that we're aware?
Safe Schools Coalition Victoria, which has become national. There's now Safe Schools Coalition Australia. And it's aimed at making it compulsory for students to learn about the same-sex lifestyle, and is supposedly supposed to wipe out anti-bullying, like homophobic bullying. This homophobia, which is a word that's being made up to label all those who oppose people with same-sex attraction. But only a minority of students have any same-sex attraction or an inclination,
Yes.
or gender diversity, that sort of thing. So they're focusing on almost brainwashing kids, making it compulsory for them to accept this program, the same-sex attracted students, and to see that what their lifestyle presents is quite normal. But I think if we look around, I think statistics show that it is not a particularly healthy lifestyle. And if students are going to be compelled to learn about this, then I think their rights are being undermined.
Yes, as we touched on before, it's more about excluding.
Yeah, and it doesn't include this. It only focuses on one particular type of bullying.
Yes.
What we need is a program that covers all types of bullying, and I think an excellent one, which has had results already, is the Ruler program.
Would you like to explain that to us?
The Ruler, I haven't studied it in detail, but I do know it stands Ruler, R for realising, the U for understanding, the L for labelling, the E for expressing, and the final R for regulating. That's all part of a comprehensive program that works between students and teachers to explore the intellect, the emotions, the psychology, and they're put in situations where they work through these programs for better outcomes, and it has worked. Students have been more fulfilled, and there's been less bullying, but better academic results, and a number of other things are very positive. So I think that's the type of program that the National Schools Coalition framework would really want to be working at.
Yes.
But I think they're defeating their own purposes by introducing a program. But I also think that underneath it all, it's aimed at presenting the same-sex homosexual lifestyle as normal and healthy and acceptable.
Yes.
And the kids have to realise that. So they're really pushing this onto them.
So a minority point of view
it's
is
a minority,
being pushed onto
but because
the
the active homosexual lobby is so powerful, I think they've had a very strong influence on pushing this program through.
Yes.
But it boils down to kids' rights and parents' rights are being undermined.
Yes, yes. Where has Ruler been tested?
Off the top of my head, I can't. I don't know exactly, but I do know it has been tried. There is one particular school which slips my mind. I think it's in Geelong.
Yes.
It has been tried and proven very effective.
Yes.
Yeah. But also believe in the United States.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's something that parents could probably go online and find where
I'm sure they could.
Ruler
Yes.
is used, and have a comparison. In other words, it's a counterpoint to what's being proposed.
I think far more positive.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what else fills in your time these days?
Well, listening to music, my favourite relaxing music. Regular church and Holy Communion is part of my life.
Yes.
I've just recently joined a choir. I'm still feeling my way through that, called Excelsis.
Yeah.
So that'll be a new refreshing challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So with your passion for life, right to life, the unborn,
yes,
and now students at school who may have something imposed on them.
Yes, yes.
You've found the time to get out there and talk with individuals. What are some of the conversations that you've had?
Well, especially with life issues. Like I've been involved with 40 Days for Life, and just the questions that people come up with, or even the comments, really make me think how much ignorance there is out there. Not ignorance, and also prejudice. That I find myself just saying, why do we want to kill our fellow unborn Australians legally? And even up to birth. It's just totally inhumane.
Yes.
And so I just find when people put questions to me, now I'm able to just one by one answer them from my heart. These are our fellow unborn Australians. Nobody has a right to kill a fellow human being. Therefore, we need to change this law, this horrific law.
Yes.
Especially, doctors don't even have a freedom of conscience. Professional, they go against their own, forced to go against their own Hippocratic oath, first do no harm.
That's a note to finish up on, that collectively, if we make a stand and choose together to do no harm, maybe the law will change. You've been watching Support Life, and that's all for our program today. Join us again next week. Goodbye.